And here comes the die roll. Dirk Wagner rolls a 5.
Right,
not going to get it done.
An extra deck? I don't have one. No. On that, yeah, you go first.
Wow, and so get this. Dirk is not, we just talked about Domain Monarchs. Dirk's playing Domain Monarchs with Majesty's Fiend in the main, so he gets to go first. So Jonathon says, go first because we're playing a Monarch Mirror. But he's not. He's playing PK Fire. So we've got PK Fire versus Dirk Wagner's Domain Monarchs. And this is going to be really interesting. I cannot believe this. So Jonathon, just to give you guys some clarity about what just happened, Jonathon won the die roll. He told Dirk to go first, then asked how many cards he had in his extra deck. Dirk said, I'm not playing an extra deck. Jonathon then responded with, oh, well, I guess I just told you that you can go first. So this is really kind of interesting that you'd see this happen. So I don't know if he's playing a lot of outs to domain lock. I don't know what he's doing, but that may be, I mean, this game could be over if he sets up here. And Vexy, I got to give you some credit. He did call PK Fire versus the Monarch, so credit where credit is due, and credit to everyone still joining us on the stream today. Appreciate the chat, appreciate the feedback, and continuing to look at Dirk's hand as he builds up for an Erebus, and this is going to come down and take away a potential domain out from the hand. Not that he has one. And he did have Farfa, so that could be kind of interesting.
I'll re-roll for 6.
And there's a roll. He rolls 3, chooses the middle one. Don't even really know if the dice, I mean, do people actually number them, or is it just a fancy way of choosing whatever they really want to choose? I don't know. I've always been a believer of ruling out the dice roll when you choose a card. I think that anyone who's played GOAT format can appreciate that even subtleties of your interactions, like pointing to a certain card or reaching or extending or reading their feedback to a card that you're looking at potentially face down, is much more valuable than just rolling a die and hoping for the best. So he's got Domain Live, he's got Pantheism, he's got Prime in the graveyard, he's got an Eidos in the graveyard. I mean, Dirk is set up. And this is the deck that I chose to play as well, where I main decked 3 Majesty's Fiend as well. Honestly, I just kind of decided that I'd rather commentate, and so here we are. And again, this is game 1, round 4. Jonathon against Dirk Wagner. And Dirk, you would expect to win this, barring a miracle from Jonathon. And I just don't see it happening. He also drew a Kaiju, though. So the Kaiju is going to get some value here. So he's going to special the Kaiju, and then he could stop the domain lock here with the Kaiju. So I think he's going to make...
1 second.
I'm curious why he did that first. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to get my money back or not. That's a good thought. I would appreciate it from Jim if you guys want to share any feedback. Say, hey, Tyler really deserves getting that $35 back, taking one for the team, making sure that we're all having fun and enjoying ourselves. I would appreciate that. A little gas money. But man, this is absolutely sick from Dirk. Anyone who's watching this. So just to recap, those of you just joining, trickling in late to the stream, Jonathon let Dirk go first, knowing that he's playing Domain Monarchs while he's playing PK Fire, and that's where it just started to kind of escalate out of control. And this is T-Po Pro, so Tyler Poe. And Vex, I think we've met a few times. It's been a while since I've really played competitively, but appreciate it nonetheless. And again, we are live, round 4, and it looks to be in Dirk Wagner's full control here, as control is the name of the game for Domain Monarchs. He's got Kuraz, he's got Erebus, he's got Return, he's got Majesty's Fiend in hand. So many ways to threaten here. He could make a Prime and just tribute it for the Majesty's Fiend after he adds Tenacity to search a Stormforth and just be absolutely loaded. And that's exactly what he's going to do here. So he's going to go ahead and show the choices. Jonathon will give him Stormforth if he's smart and realizes that he obviously has more tribute monsters in hand. Dirk just kind of signaling that he wants the Stormforth, and Jonathon does do the right thing, doesn't fall for that ploy, and go ahead and gives him the card there. And I mean, I don't see how he comes back from. I mean, I believe he has a face down Fog Blade. I just don't see where this could go. But that's why they play the game. And to catch up, you know, some people that are joining us for the first time, we've had kind of an interesting discussion on the stream today about just how the game's evolved and how it's really come to a point where, for the first time ever, you have really 4 to 5 key decks and 1 to 3 variations of that deck, and all of them more than capable of winning, and all having their own subtle advantages. So again, Dirk, we've seen Monarchs every round, and we've seen different versions, and we've seen Brilliant Fusion, we've seen Domain, we've seen Terror Tops, and we've seen how they've stacked up against this meta, and that's really kind of interesting. And I think that Dirk also recognized that as people begin to discount and forget about Domain Monarchs, it's the perfect time, it's the perfect meta call to bring it back, right? And to continue to lock people out of the game. And I would not be surprised if Jonathon decides to scoop here. He's got to be thinking about the outs in his deck. It's possible he plays a card like Regeki, Dark Hole. Obviously, Interrupted Kaiju Slumber would be nice. He clearly plays at least one of those. That'd be a good draw. So he knows he's not out of this. He's got some outs. But here's what's interesting about Domain is that when you have Domain and Majesty and Return and Aether, even if you were somehow able to overcome that, he's got Stormforce Aether just waiting.
Go ahead, man.
And he drew for turn. It looks like it's another monster, and that's not really what you want to draw at this point. I don't know if it was Takum Tomborg or if it was a PK. It's just, it's not looking good. I'm curious if I'd be kind of curious if a Domain Monarch version existed that played Demise, where you just play, Eidos and Majesty's Fiend, Vanity's Fiend, Allura Darkness, Domain, the rest of the Monarch cards. I'd be curious if that would be just as effective, since it would solve some of the problems as far as running out of cards, and then you don't have to play as many double tribute monsters because you're just using, that instead. But maybe not, because you kind of still need Aether in hand, but it'd be interesting. So there's the Takum Tomborg from the Speedroid Terror Top.
You're still under Domain.
He's still under Domain, and he doesn't realize that, but he already has 2 in defense mode, and he's going to scoop. So Dirk takes really an easy game number 1, and I think that for those that have joined, that was decided before the game started. And what I mean by that is Jonathon let Dirk go first, knowing what he was playing, and maybe just assuming that Dirk, being a good player, was going to play XYZ Monarchs, and that sleight of hand really turned the tables, and maybe even on this whole match. It's crazy to think that this sort of that sort of call from a you go first, I go first perspective could actually just lose the match. And obviously we have a long way to go, but really interesting how that played out, and curious to see what happens from there. Again, appreciate all the feedback. TPO Pro live commentary. Tyler Poe here in St. Louis. We are in Collinsville, Illinois. If you're in the area, we'd appreciate you coming on down to the Gateway Center, Convention Center here in Collinsville, where we have several events. We've got, of course, Yu-Gi-Oh! The main event today, the 1K tomorrow, side events all day long. We've got Force of Will Championship, and along with several other items. So it looks like it's going to be a kind of a great kickoff. And we'd love to have you guys come on out. So we're in game number 2. So Dirk got the quick victory with Domain Monarchs. Again, all really Jonathon's fault, but gotta kind of love the underdog in this situation with Jonathon probably choosing to go first, I would imagine, at this point, just to kind of set up maybe a Dante or 2. Perhaps he plays a card like Dark Law. Interesting to see what happens. I believe there are 8 rounds today for Mr. Crimson. Jonathon taking his time to shuffle. He
Wait for the camera.
Oh.
hit a lot of monsters in his hand first time he played. So again, we're at about 300 viewers. See if we can get this to 1,000 throughout the day. Certainly well within our expectations, and love to increase the viewership as we head into the later rounds, get into some more competitive duels.
Did you get to go to the last YCS? The one in,
And there is a top cut,
when?
and day 2 is
the
tomorrow.
YCS.
Or ARG or?
The YCS, Providence, or?
Yeah.
You did, yep.
Yeah. I think I lost the.
And so right now, Dirk and Jonathon just catching up while they shuffle each other's decks, just getting familiar with one another, recapping maybe some previous interactions. Curious what Jonathon's going to do here. I think he's going to. You'd have to think he goes first after what happened last game. So we see Graph, we see Kaiju Slumber, 2 Kaiju Slumbers, so he has plenty of domain outs. He also has a Boots, I believe, as well as the Raiden again. So back-to-back Raidens in the opening hand. Now, one thing to note is that it's really not great to draw the Kaiju Slumber in Burning Abyss, because you then can't. Oh. Gonna go ahead and update the clock. Thanks for the catch on the time, everyone. But as I was saying, is that the Interrupted Kaiju Slumber, it's not a card you really want to see in your opening hand. You want to send it off Beatrice in the pure variant. Obviously, it has more utility here in the Domain Monarch version, but kind of interesting to see that he opened 3 parts of 3 Kaiju cards. And I did update the timer to our current time, so appreciate whoever had caught that. Sorry about that. But Jonathon kind of bricked, and this will give Dirk kind of a free advantage to Twin Twister, to clear that out. Clears out the Slumber. Now that's going to get some value, but you got to think that a domain out is coming. So he's got the domain out in Graves. So that's going to change Dirk's perspective of what he's going to do. So now he's thinking about maybe pushing for damage, going with Aether instead, so that he can pull out another Aether or an Erebus, probably an Aether, and just really just continue to steamroll here. Another play is if he has the Erebus, being able to shuffle back the Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. Now, he doesn't realize that Jonathon has a second copy, but that could be something to look at. He does go ahead and add the domain. And that's really good feedback, Oasis. I'm going to go ahead and add what they're playing into the description. So for those that are just joining us, you know what decks they're playing. So we've updated those lists now, which you can see above. And it looks like Erebus does come down. Curious if he spins back the Kaiju Slumber, as he knows it's an out 2 domain.
You in?
Go ahead, man.
We've kind of cleaned up the names here.
You win, Ben? Oh, you got destroyed. Okay. You cut the guy's deck? Who cut that man's deck?
Okay. And we've got, again, it looks like, I think he's going to make an attack here. Yeah, and someone made a good point that you don't really see a Burning Abyss variant brick very often, and because the point is that you have so many cards that you can just special summon. They get that value of it doesn't matter if they're normal or special, that you can at least commit them to the board, but seeing that that's not really the case here. Thank you again, Oasis, for your help on that. Appreciate that. Okay, so it's interesting here. He's adding the Raiden for the Allure of Darkness, potentially. Interesting to see what will happen. He's got the domain out. Not showing really any damage taken. Don't know if we had missed something. So there come the cloak. And so cloak is on the board now. Domain is not live until potentially Aether comes down here on this summon. So that summon comes down, and here's where Aether is going to happen, and it's going to reestablish that domain lock. So really just kind of basic, playing with that domain and really causing a lot of problems for Jonathon. This is round 4. ARG live in Collinsville, Illinois. Dirk Wagner against Jonathon Nagel, PK Fire and Domain Monarch. And Dirk is just really rolling here. Has not really had any issues with keeping Domain live and keeping Jonathon on the ropes. Oh, it is Radiant. I apologize as well. And so he's thinking here. Dirk just trying to think through his head of what else could be there and trying to make sure that he just adds what he needs. He's thinking about bringing out the Kuraz, but he's thinking that if he brings them out, he almost wants to pop them, but it's just a question of he knows that if he gives him more cards, he could get potentially more outs to the domain lock versus just fixing his own hand. And obviously those cards are going to be able to be used to add traps as well. And so it's a situation where you almost just want to add another Aether or Erebus instead of the Kuraz with the special, but he does elect to grab the Kuraz. So Kuraz, during the turn it's summoned, it can pop up to 2 cards, cannot attack during the turn it's normal or special summon. Dirk will choose to activate Kuraz. Thinking on the targets here.
Did you use Prime this year? Yeah, you did, right?
No. There's just the Kaiju and the Eidos or something.
I think he wants to pop himself and possibly the Cloak, but because Cloak doesn't hurt him because he knows he can't grab anything that would do anything. So, yep, he does the right thing. Passes with the Graveyard locked and loaded. And Jonathon looks at another interrupted Kaiju Slumber. No, it's still the same one he had. Okay, so we've got the Radiant. Still kind of flashing some other cards. He may choose to use Cloaks here. He's got Game of Seal as well. So Jonathon really just playing pure Kaiju at this point, with a few Phantom Knights played just for the lulls at this point. And he drew showing a Fairy Wind on the bottom, and this is just getting more and more awkward as the hands progress. So the Kaiju deck is okay. So then he actually gets to use Radiant's effect, which is if your opponent controls a Kaiju, you can special summon the that Kaiju, and Kaiju PK. So what do you know? I don't think Dirk is concerned. I haven't gotten that sense from him. Probably because he has everything he could ever want in the grave, and he's already got a 1-0 victory, or advantage, and he's Dirk Wagner, so we'll see what else happens. Let's go ahead and prime.
This is all in your end phase.
Just during the end phase, of course. He still has an Eidos and Edea. He still has Erebus, which he just used, pitching Pantheism. So he is, the life point total may be equal, but this game is very nearly over. And I think that Mr. Nagel has kind of realized that as well, and he may pick it up, and he does.
Sorry, man. Yeah.
And Jonathon kind of says what we were going to say as well, just too many Kaijus.
And I drew the turtle. So I couldn't even slumber out.
Oh, wow. I mean, I drew really insane too, but like, so there's not much you could have done.
Yeah, even
either
if I
way.
had like restrict or anti-spell, you had double twisted.
Yeah.
Big
I,
enough, big
oh
enough.
yeah. I drew
Nice.
the twister off the the second one off the.
Oh,
Curve.
that's okay.
Good game, guys.
Yeah, thank you. Good luck to you, dude.
Yeah, thanks. You too. Man.
Nice meeting you, man.
I know we talked about like not doing this at the championship, you know, because like you at least get the chance for like random players, you know, like
For
instead
what?
of doing buys and like playing.
So
like,
that does it,
you know what
folks.
I mean?
Round
Yeah,
4
yeah,
in the books.
No,
Dirk Wagner
definitely. I
emerges victorious with Domain Monarch versus PK Fire. Again, kind of how we predicted it would go, but interesting to see it play out. Just too many Kaijus spoil the broth, as they say, the old adage goes. And that was certainly the case for Mr. Nagel. And so curious to see how Dirk continues to run through this tournament with Domain Monarch. It's very, very much an interesting deck. A deck that I myself would have loved to continue playing, but duty calls.
I was actually thinking about signing
And
up for
speaking
Kaiju,
of that duty,
but
we will go ahead and take a short commercial break, and we'll be right back. Thank you for watching ARG Live.
Yeah, so much.